Captain Ryan Harlow had spent most of his life among the stars. He had seen alien worlds with skies of green fire, meteor storms that turned space into a deadly dance, and creatures that defied imagination. He thought he had seen it all, until the day Princess Leora of the Arindian Empire appeared on his human ship, the Horizon. The docking bay doors opened, revealing a tall figure in shimmering silver robes that seemed to glow in the soft lights of the hangar. She moved with grace, every step precise and calm. Yet there was an undeniable tension in the way she held herself. Her eyes were like twin moons, reflecting the light of distant stars, and when they met Ryan's, he felt an unfamiliar weight settle in his chest. "I am Princess Leora," she said softly, her voice carrying both authority and a strange vulnerability. "I will not travel unless it is on your ship, Captain Ryan." The words hit him like a meteor. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy. Many species considered them fragile, reckless, and inexperienced. Yet here was a princess of one of the most advanced empires, refusing her own fleet, insisting on traveling with a human crew. Ryan could feel the disbelief buzzing through the air, even in the silent awe of his own crew. "Your Highness, why my ship?" he asked carefully, unsure how to respond. She hesitated, as if choosing her words with care. "Because humans are different. I can feel it. I trust you. Only you can carry me safely across the stars." Her gaze softened, but there was something raw and unguarded in her eyes, something that made Ryan's heart ache. It wasn't just a request, it was a plea. A quiet, desperate plea from someone who had everything but still felt afraid. Ryan found himself standing a little straighter, the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. Humans were underestimated, yes, but if this princess believed in them, he would not fail. The crew exchanged uncertain glances. Some were excited. Others were nervous. None had ever carried royalty from one of the galaxy's greatest empires, let alone someone as enigmatic as Leora. But Ryan had learned long ago that fear didn't help anyone. Action did, and right now action meant welcoming the princess aboard and keeping her alive no matter what. He stepped forward. "Princess, your request is unusual but not impossible. We will do everything in our power to keep you safe." Her lips curved into the faintest smile, almost invisible, but it lit up her entire face. "Thank you, Captain. I have seen many ships, many crews. But humans, you carry something no one else does. Courage, resilience, hope. And I need that with me now." Ryan's throat tightened. He had heard humans praised before, but never like this. Not from someone of her stature, not with such raw honesty. There was no flattery, no politeness, just truth, and it struck him deeply. "Then we will do our best," he said firmly, feeling a spark of determination. "Not just because you asked, but because it's what humans do. We don't give up and we don't back down." Leora nodded, her eyes glistening. "I will trust you, Ryan. I have no other choice, and yet it feels like the right one." For a long moment, neither spoke. The hum of the docking bay filled the silence. Then slowly, the princess began to move toward the human ship. Every step she took seemed to carry a mix of fear and hope, like someone stepping into a future they weren't sure they deserved. Ryan watched her, a strange warmth spreading through him. Humans were ordinary, fragile, and unpredictable, and yet they had survived countless dangers. And now, a princess of one of the galaxy's greatest empires had chosen to place her life in their hands. That alone was proof that humans were extraordinary. As the boarding ramp lowered and Leora stepped aboard the Horizon, Ryan felt the journey ahead would be unlike anything he had ever faced. Not just for the dangers in space, but for the bond forming in that quiet, tense moment between human and princess. And somehow, he knew the galaxy was about to witness something very rare, a human showing its true worth. The hum of the Horizon's engines filled the ship as the crew went about preparations for the long journey. The Arindian princess would not travel lightly, and Ryan knew this mission would test every skill his team possessed. Engineers checked every system twice, ensuring shields were reinforced, engines optimized, and life support flawless. Security teams moved with quiet precision, scanning for threats both known and unseen. Leora, meanwhile, remained quiet, moving through the ship with careful steps. She watched the human crew at work, her silver robes brushing against the polished floor. There was a curiosity in her eyes, the kind that could pierce the surface and see the heart of someone. She noticed small gestures, a technician helping another with a stubborn panel, a pilot patting a worried co-pilot on the back. Humans were messy and unpredictable, yet there was an undeniable rhythm in their teamwork, a courage that came from the heart rather than machinery. Ryan found her later on the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass, a tapestry of light and shadow. She leaned against the railing, silent and distant, her gaze fixed on the infinite. "Do you ever feel afraid?" Ryan asked softly, stepping beside her. She shook her head. "Not of the stars, not of space, but of losing control, of being powerless." Her voice trembled slightly, betraying her calm exterior. "I've always been in command. I've always been expected to be perfect. But traveling with humans, it feels like stepping into the unknown. And yet I trust you." Ryan felt a strange warmth at her words. Trust was rare in the galaxy, especially for someone who had everything at her command. "Humans make mistakes," he admitted. "We're messy, unpredictable, and often reckless. But we fight. We protect, and we don't give up on each other." She turned to him, eyes glistening with a mixture of wonder and fear. "And that is why I am here. Not because your ship is strong or your weapons advanced, but because humans have heart." The words resonated through Ryan. Humans were often underestimated, yet here was someone of immense power choosing to rely entirely on them. That kind of faith carried weight heavier than any weapon, but trust alone could not shield them from the dangers ahead. Reports came in of rogue mercenaries in nearby sectors, rumored to be hunting the princess for ransom. The crew's nerves tightened with every sensor ping, every unfamiliar blip on the radar. They were professionals, but even they felt the pressure of carrying royalty through hostile space. Ryan called a meeting in the command room, his face serious. "We have a mission. Keep the princess safe and get her to the Arindian border. No excuses, no risks we can avoid." His words carried weight not just as an order but as a promise. The crew nodded, determination in their eyes. Humans might be underestimated, but in moments like this their courage shone brightest. Later, Leora wandered the crew quarters, observing life aboard a human ship. She smiled at small interactions, the way a cook joked with a pilot, the way a mechanic laughed after a minor accident. These were simple moments, but they spoke volumes about the humanity she had come to admire. It was chaos, yet beautiful chaos. It was imperfect, yet powerful. Ryan found her again, leaning on a console, deep in thought. "Do you ever wish you could feel that freedom?" he asked quietly. She looked at him, eyes wide. "I do. I have been caged by duty my entire life, surrounded by perfection I could never meet. Watching humans, I see strength without needing to be flawless, courage without fear of failure. It's inspiring." He nodded, feeling the weight of the journey ahead. Protecting her would not be easy. Danger could come from any corner of space, and yet, the bond forming between them, the trust, the understanding, made it all worth it. As the horizon hummed through the void, the princess and the captain stood side by side, staring into the stars. Both knew the path ahead was uncertain, dangerous, and full of challenges. But for the first time, Leora felt a hope she had never known, and Ryan realized that humans, ordinary, flawed humans, could achieve the extraordinary when they were trusted and believed in. The journey was only beginning, and already something remarkable was unfolding. A human ship carrying an alien princess through the stars, bound not by power or technology but by courage, heart, and trust. The moment had finally come. The horizon lifted off the docking bay with a smooth hum, engines blazing, leaving the glittering spires of the Arindian capital behind. Princess Leora stood beside Captain Ryan Harlow on the bridge, her hands gripping the railing as she stared out at the stars. She had traveled countless times within her empire, yet nothing compared to this human ship with its unpredictable crew and unfamiliar ways. Ryan noticed her unease. "Nervous?" he asked quietly. She shook her head, but her lips trembled. "I am cautious. Humans." "You are different. I do not know what to expect." Ryan smiled softly. "Different can be good. It means you survive when others might fall." The princess turned her gaze toward him, a flicker of hope in her eyes. "I hope your people are as brave as you say." He glanced around the bridge. The crew worked in perfect rhythm, each member moving with purpose and calm precision. Their hands steady on controls, their eyes sharp on displays. They were ordinary humans, flawed yet determined, and their courage radiated in every small action. Leora's gaze softened as she watched them. Something about their ordinary bravery made her feel safe. But the stars were not kind, and the galaxy was full of those who would see her as a prize rather than a person. Sensors beeped with incoming alerts, minor anomalies, unusual energy readings, and distant signals of unknown ships. Though none were immediate threats, Ryan's instincts told him to stay alert. "You trust us," he said, turning to her. "That trust is powerful, but it's also a burden. Out here we face the unknown. I promise you, we will protect you, but danger may come." Leora's fingers tightened on the railing. "I do not fear humans," she said softly. "I fear losing control, being powerless. Yet, somehow being here, I feel less afraid. I feel hope." Her words struck Ryan in a way no praise or honor ever could. Humans were often dismissed as fragile, but their courage came from heart, not technology. And now this princess, a being of immense power and influence, saw that truth. The journey continued, and with each passing hour, Leora observed the crew more closely. She noticed the quiet way the navigator adjusted their path when sensors detected an asteroid cluster, the calm humor of the engineer fixing a sudden power fluctuation, the protective vigilance of the security team during minor turbulence. These humans, she realized, were not flawless, but their determination, their willingness to act in impossible situations, was extraordinary. Yet doubt lingered in the princess's mind. What if their courage was not enough? What if she had made a mistake trusting a human crew? She kept her fears hidden, but Ryan sensed it. He approached her quietly on the observation deck where the stars stretched endlessly, cold and silent. "Do you trust humans because you have to, or because you want to?" he asked. She hesitated, then whispered, "Because I have no choice, and because my heart tells me it is right. Your people are flawed, yet they are alive in a way others are not. I have never felt such life in my entire world." Ryan nodded, understanding her. "Life is messy. Humans are messy. But when it counts, we rise. We fight, we protect. That's what makes us extraordinary." For the first time in her life, Leora allowed herself a small smile. It was tentative but real. She had stepped into the unknown, and though fear remained, hope was stronger. Hope that humans could carry her safely across the stars. Hope that she had made the right choice. As the horizon glided past distant nebulae and star clusters, the princess felt a strange peace. Danger might come, and challenges would test them all, but in that moment she trusted. She trusted the humans, and more importantly, she trusted the bond forming between them. The journey was uncertain, the galaxy full of threats, yet within the walls of a human ship, something extraordinary was growing. Courage, trust, and the beginning of an unbreakable connection. The stars were calm, distant, and cold. But the silence was broken by sudden alerts across the horizon's bridge. Red lights flashed, sirens blared, and Ryan's instincts screamed danger. Mercenary ships, fast and heavily armed, appeared on the sensors, closing in from multiple directions. "Captain," the navigator shouted. "They've locked onto us." Ryan's hands moved quickly over the controls. "Evasive maneuvers. Shields at maximum. Everyone, hold your stations." The crew responded instantly, trained and disciplined, but there was tension in the air thicker than the vacuum of space outside. Leora froze for a moment, the alarms and flashing lights overwhelming her senses. She had faced threats in her empire before, but this was different. These humans, ordinary beings, were moving with precision, coordinating attacks and defense in ways she had never imagined. And yet fear knotted her stomach. Ryan noticed her hesitation. "Princess, we need you at the console." She shook her head at first, but then her resolve hardened. "I won't hide. If you trust me, let me do something." Reluctantly, Ryan guided her to a small console near the weapons controls. "Monitor communications. Warn us of any ship movement. Don't panic. Follow my instructions exactly." Her hands flew over the controls, her sharp mind processing information in ways the crew had not expected. She called out warnings, identified weak points in the approaching ships, and even suggested maneuvers Ryan had not considered. The human crew followed her cues, adapting to her strategy as if they had known her all their lives. Laser fire streaked across space, bright and deadly, bouncing off shields and exploding harmlessly into the void. The horizon shook with every impact and sparks flew along the hull. Yet the human crew, with the princess's guidance, moved like a single entity. Every calculation, every maneuver seemed impossible, but somehow they made it work. Leora's voice rang out over the chaos, calm and precise. "Starboard side, Shields down by 30%. Now turn left 30 degrees. The crew obeyed, and a barrage from the largest mercenary ship missed them by mere meters. Ryan's heart raced both with fear and admiration. This princess, this alien royalty, was fighting alongside humans as though she belonged on this ship. Finally, after tense minutes that felt like hours, the mercenaries faltered. Their coordination was sloppy compared to the unity aboard the Horizon. One by one they retreated, confused and frustrated by the humans' unpredictable tactics and the princess's surprising tactical skill. The bridge fell silent, except for the hum of the ship's systems. Ryan leaned back, exhaling slowly, feeling a mix of relief and awe. He looked at Leora, her hands trembling slightly, her silver robes dusted with sparks from the console. You were incredible," he said quietly. She swallowed, trying to steady her voice. I thought I would be scared. But humans, you are not afraid. You fight when others would flee. I feel safe here. Even in the middle of this chaos, I trust you." Ryan felt something shift inside him. Humans had always been underestimated, dismissed as fragile or reckless. But here was proof. Humans could face impossible odds, and their courage could inspire even the most powerful alien royalty. For the first time, Leora smiled fully, not the cautious, polite smile of a princess, but the genuine smile of someone who had found a place of trust. "I never believed I would feel this way on a ship," she admitted. "Not even with my own people, humans. You are extraordinary." Ryan simply nodded, understanding that this was more than flattery. It was truth, born from the heat of battle, from courage tested in fire, from the undeniable human heart that refused to surrender. As the sensors returned to normal and the ship stabilized, Ryan knew the journey ahead would hold even greater challenges. But now the princess had seen it herself. Humans could endure, humans could fight, and humans could inspire trust in ways the galaxy had never imagined. And for Ryan, the trust was now a responsibility he would carry to the stars and beyond. The battle was over, but the adrenaline still lingered in the air of the Horizon. The crew moved through the ship, checking systems, repairing minor damages, and exchanging quiet words of relief. Yet in the observation deck, far from the hum of machinery, Princess Leora stood alone, gazing at the stars. They stretched endlessly, beautiful and indifferent, and she felt small in a way she had never known. Ryan approached quietly, hesitant to break her silence. "You've done well today," he said softly. She didn't turn to him. "I should have been afraid. I should have panicked, but I didn't. I watched humans fight and something inside me shifted." Her voice was barely above a whisper. Ryan stepped closer. "What shifted?" Her shoulders slumped slightly, a rare break in her royal composure. "I have lived my entire life surrounded by rules, by expectations. I've been taught to be perfect, to lead without weakness, to hide fear at all costs. And yet here, on this ship, I felt something I've never felt before. I felt safe to be imperfect, to be afraid, and still to act." Ryan nodded, understanding her in a way few ever could. Humans were flawed, messy, often reckless, but in their flaws was courage, and in their courage was power. "Humans have that effect on people," he said quietly. "We may stumble, we may fail, but when it matters, we rise." She finally turned to him, eyes glistening with emotion. "I've seen strength in many forms. Warriors, kings, fleets of ships. But humans, your strength is in your heart. You care for each other, you fight for each other, and that is something no technology or weapon can replace." Ryan felt a lump in his throat. He had never heard anyone speak of humanity in that way, and from the princess of the Arindian Empire it felt almost surreal. "Then you understand why you chose this ship," he said softly. Her lips curved into a small smile. "Yes, I refused every other vessel, every other crew. And now I understand. Humans are extraordinary, not because of power, but because of courage, trust, and heart. And I see that in every one of you aboard this ship." The two stood in silence, watching the stars together. For the first time, Leora allowed herself to feel not just the weight of her duty, but the warmth of trust. She was not alone. She was not invincible, but she was safe with humans. And that realization brought tears to her eyes. Tears of relief, of gratitude, and perhaps even hope. Ryan hesitated, then spoke. "You don't have to carry the weight of the galaxy alone, Princess. You have people here who will stand with you, fight with you, and protect you." Her gaze met his, steady and honest. "I know that now. And it is freeing to trust, to let go of the fear that I must always be untouchable. She paused, then added softly, I see why humans survive where others fall. You are resilient in ways I cannot describe. A gentle smile spread across Ryan's face. We do what we must. We fight for each other, and when we rise together, we can face anything. For the first time, the princess laughed, a light, melodic sound that echoed in the observation deck. It was not the restrained, careful laugh of royalty, but T. He laughed of someone discovering a new world within themselves. You make it sound simple, she said, shaking her head, still smiling. But perhaps it is simple. Perhaps courage is simply acting, even when fear is present. Ryan placed a reassuring hand on the railing beside her. Exactly. Humans aren't perfect. We're messy, sometimes reckless, often underestimated, but we rise, and so do those who trust us. Lyra nodded, letting the weight of her burdens ease for a moment. In that quiet space amid the endless stars, a bond had formed. Not of obligation or politics or power, but of trust, respect, and something deeper. Something that could not be measured in fleets or wealth, only in courage and heart. As the horizon sailed onward through the galaxy, Lyra allowed herself to hope. Danger would come, yes, but she had humans beside her who would fight, protect, and inspire her. And for the first time in her life, she believed that even someone like her could survive and even thrive in the unpredictable, extraordinary world of humans. The calm of deep space was broken by sudden sensor alarms. A massive pirate fleet had appeared near the Draxion Rift, their numbers overwhelming and weapons deadly. The crew of the Horizon tensed, moving to battle stations with precision. But even their confidence faltered under the sheer scale of the threat. Princess Lyra stood beside Captain Ryan on the bridge, her silver robes brushing against the console. She had faced danger before, but this was different. The odds were against them, and yet she refused to panic. Her gaze swept over the human crew, ordinary beings flawed yet unbreakably determined, and something inside her stirred. Ryan turned to her, voice steady. This is it. We either fight or surrender. I trust humans to rise to the challenge, but I need your courage too. Lyra's eyes narrowed, a mixture of fear and resolve shining through. I will not hide, she said firmly. I trusted you before, and I trust you still. Fight with me. If we survive, it will be because humans never give up. The pirates opened fire, streaks of energy cutting across space. The horizon shuddered with every hit, shields flaring and alarms blaring. The human crew moved like clockwork, firing back, dodging attacks, repairing damages, all while listening to the princess's precise warnings and suggestions. Lyra called out coordinates, identified weak points, and predicted enemy maneuvers. Each time she spoke, the crew acted, their trust in her growing as her knowledge guided them through impossible situations. For the first time, she was not merely a passenger or a symbol of royalty. She was a vital part of the battle, a bridge between human courage and alien strategy. Ryan felt a surge of pride and admiration. Humans had always been underestimated, yet here they were, standing against impossible odds, unbroken and relentless. And the princess, she was learning to see humans as he did. Extraordinary, not because of power or technology, but because of heart. The battle raged for hours, a dance of light, fire, and precise calculations. Explosions rocked the ship, and for a moment, even the seasoned crew felt doubt creeping in. But Lyra's steady voice, calm and determined, kept them focused. Hold your ground. Adjust shields. Fire at the flank. Trust yourselves. Finally, the tide turned. The pirates, frustrated and disoriented by the crew's unity and unexpected tactics, began to retreat. One by one, their ships fled, unable to match the human resolve and the princess's sharp guidance. The horizon emerged battered but unbroken, its crew exhausted but victorious. The bridge fell silent save for the low hum of the ship. Ryan leaned back, chest heaving, and looked at Lyra. Her hands trembled slightly, her silver robes marked with sparks and scratches, but her eyes shone with triumph. You were incredible, Ryan said quietly. Lyra's voice shook, a mixture of relief and wonder. No, we were incredible. Humans, you are extraordinary. I have never seen courage like this. Not in my empire, not in any fleet. You fight not because you must, but because you care. Ryan smiled, feeling the weight of her words. That's what humans do. We may stumble, we may fall, but when it matters, we rise together. Tears formed in Leora's eyes, but this time they were not fear. They were awe, gratitude, and respect. I see it now. I understand why I refused all other ships. I see why I trusted humans. You are not just survivors. You are heroes. Ryan nodded silently. The galaxy might underestimate humans, call them fragile or reckless. But here was proof that they could face impossible odds, inspire trust, and change hearts, even the heart of an alien princess. As the stars stretched endlessly before them, Leora stood taller, no longer the cautious princess who had boarded a human ship out of fear. She had learned to trust, to fight, and to believe in something beyond her own power. And in that trust, in that shared courage, both she and the humans aboard the Horizon had discovered something far greater than victory: the extraordinary heart of humanity. The battle behind them. The Horizon glided through the quiet of space. Stars stretched endlessly, serene and beautiful, yet they reminded everyone of the dangers that lingered just beyond sight. The crew moved quietly, exhausted but proud, their faces reflecting relief and quiet triumph. Princess Leora stood on the observation deck, gazing at the nebulae painting the galaxy in soft colors. She had survived, not through wealth, status, or the power of her empire, but through courage, trust, and the extraordinary heart of humans. Her silver robes glimmered softly in the starlight, but it was her eyes that shone brightest, reflecting awe and newfound respect. Ryan approached her, hands resting casually on the railing. "You made it through," he said, voice calm but warm. She turned to him, a small smile on her face. "Yes, and I understand now why I refused every other ship. Humans, you are more than I ever imagined, not just because you survive, but because you rise. You care for each other, you fight for each other, and you inspire those around you." Ryan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He had never needed recognition for humans before, but hearing it from an alien princess, a being of immense power and influence, was humbling. "We do what we must," he said. "We fight, we protect, and we rise when it matters. That's what humans are." Leora took a deep breath, letting her guard fall completely for the first time. "I have spent my life surrounded by perfection and expectation. I was taught that fear is weakness, that vulnerability is a flaw. But you have shown me the opposite. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting, even when fear is present. And humans, you are full of it." The princess's words filled the bridge with a quiet awe. The crew exchanged glances, proud yet humbled. They had always known humans were capable, but hearing it reflected in the eyes of someone who had once seen humans as fragile, someone who now placed her trust in them, was extraordinary. Ryan stepped closer. "And you," he said gently, "are extraordinary too. Not just as a princess, but as someone who can see beyond power and status, to the heart of a species. You trusted us when the odds were against you. That takes courage too." Leora's gaze softened, her previous worries now replaced by a deep, radiant confidence. "Then let this be a new beginning," she said. "Humans will be my chosen allies, and I will ensure the galaxy knows what I have seen. You are not just survivors, you are heroes, and your courage, it will be remembered." For a moment, silence stretched across the deck, broken only by the gentle hum of the ship. Ryan felt a deep warmth in his chest. Humans were often underestimated, dismissed as reckless or fragile, but in moments like these, their true nature shone. They endured, they inspired, and they proved that the heart could be more powerful than any weapon. Leora looked back at the stars, then at the crew bustling in the distance. "I refused all other ships," she said quietly, "because I needed to see it for myself. And now I have humans. You have my respect, my trust, and my gratitude. You have shown me that even ordinary beings can achieve the extraordinary." Ryan smiled, feeling a rare pride that went beyond personal achievement. It was the pride of knowing that humanity, in all its messiness and imperfection, had earned recognition in the eyes of the galaxy. And more than that, they had earned the trust of a princess who would never forget what they had done together. As the Horizon sailed on, carrying the princess toward her homeland and humanity, toward a new chapter in galactic history, one truth was undeniable: humans were extraordinary, not because of technology or power, but because of heart, courage, and the ability to rise when it mattered most. And Princess Leora would carry that lesson with her forever. Proof that, sometimes the greatest strength in the galaxy was not in ships or weapons, but in the human spirit.